A number of popular fan theories have emerged on online communities discussing the world of Westeros. These theories range from the impossible, Hodor is a literal dragon, to the entirely credible. The most well-known gives us a clue as to who is the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. This theory is known simply as R plus L equals J. The J being Jon Snow, that guy who doesn't know anything. Now here's what we are led to believe about Jon Snow's history. His father, Ned Stark, already married to Catelyn Tully with an heir, Robb, on the way, met a woman on his return trip to Winterfell, following the success of Robert Baratheon's rebellion. That woman gave birth to Ned's bastard son, Jon Snow. Weird because Ned seemed like a really honorable guy, right? Like almost to a fault. And you know what? George R. Martin has left several clues throughout the series that give reason to believe that Jon Snow is not Ned's son, but is in fact heir to the Iron Throne and ruler of the 7 motherfucking kingdoms. What? I know! Now before I can explain why, it's important to talk about some of the characters that we haven't even met on the show. Rhaegar Targaryen, brother of Daenerys Targaryen, was heir to the Iron Throne. Now he was married to Elia Martell, with whom he fathered 2 children. Elia was the sister of Oberyn Martell, who you might remember because he got his shit rocked by the Mountain. Next up is Lyanna Stark, Ned's sister, the lost love of King Robert Baratheon. Betrothed to marry Robert, Lyanna was allegedly abducted by Rhaegar and held captive in the Tower of Joy in Dorne. Just a real bad name for a tower, huh? It was there that she died of fever and wounds inflicted by Rhaegar. Allegedly. Now the Lyanna abduction story, while plausible, is probably not true. First, only 2 characters actually feed us this storyline in the book. One is Robert Baratheon, a jealous alcoholic womanizer. The other is Bran Stark, a tiny little baby boy. Second, there's evidence to support the fact that Lyanna and Rhaegar were actually in love. And here's where the theory really kicks in. Rhaegar fell for Lyanna Stark during the tourney of Harrenhal. Upon winning the joust, Rhaegar publicly gives Lyanna a crown made of blue winter roses, naming her the Queen of Love and Beauty. When Ned finds Lyanna dying in the Tower of Joy, she's guarded by 3 members of the Kingsguard, these badass dudes who aren't typically tasked with guarding prisoners. But why would Rhaegar send 3 of his best men to guard a sick and dying prisoner in the middle of a revolution? Because she's pregnant with his baby. Wait, baby? Yes, baby. When Ned finds Lyanna dying, she sits in a pool of her own blood, which would make sense if she'd just given birth. Before Lyanna dies, she says, "Promise me, Ned." Now we can't be sure of what was promised, but it might have something to do with, you know, that king baby that she just made who Robert would probably want dead. So let's go back to a minute ago when I dropped that truth bomb about Jon Snow's origins. That Jon Snow is not Ned's son, but is in fact heir to the Iron Throne and ruler of the 7 motherfucking kingdoms. What? I know. No, really, I know. So Jon Snow is actually Ned's nephew and son of Lyanna Stark and Rhaegar Targaryen. R Rhaegar plus L Lyanna equals J Jon. If this were true, it means that Jon is actually the heir to the Iron Throne and ruler of the 7 kingdoms. Keep in mind that if Rhaegar and Lyanna weren't secretly wed at some point, Jon would not be a true heir, just another bastard. But that just doesn't seem right, does it? Does it, George? This series is called A Song of Ice and Fire, you guys. Fire as in Targaryen dragons. Ice as in that giant wall made of ice up in Winterfell. Come on. R plus L equals J. Also, Tyrion is a Targ.